Hey guys, it's siu-yee. Welcome back to my channel. Today, I would like to review my student loan servicers. If you haven't seen my most recent video about student loan refinancing, be sure to check it out on my channel. I go over what that process is and how many times I've personally consolidated and refinanced my own student loans. A part of having student loans is having to deal with your lenders and their servicers. Your lender is the actual entity that lends you the money. However, lenders often outsource the servicing aspect of your loans. They usually have servicers who actually have a platform where you can submit your payments, and I will be going over both the lenders and servicers that I've actually had in the past to give you a better idea of how good or bad these lenders and servicers are. As some of you may know, the federal government was actually my lender, and it seems kind of scary to owe money to the federal government, but as I described in my previous video, federal loans are not really as bad as private loans because they have certain protections that you can use in times of need, and sometimes they freeze your interest rates for a few months. You can't do that with private loans. When I did have federal loans, I actually had Great Lakes as my servicer, and my experience with Great Lakes has been nothing short of great. I had zero problems with them. They had a really nice website set up where you could see all of your loans listed, subsidized and unsubsidized, and they gave you a lot of detailed information about your loans. I personally had a 10-year loan term, and I had borrowed around $27,000. Great Lakes had this number telling you the amount that you would eventually pay at the end of your loan term. So that number for me was about $34,000. Seeing that number for the first time kind of really scared me, and that's part of the reason why I started my debt-free journey, because I didn't want to have to pay $7,000 more than I ever needed to. So having that number there kind of scared me, but it also weirdly helped me, and their graphics are really nice. It's so easy to submit your payments, and they even let you pick which loan you want to make a payment on. So when I was working the snowball method on these loans, it was really helpful to be able to allot 100% of my payment to one specific loan. And they also had a mobile app, which was really nice because then you could look at your loans on the go. Once I did pay off my full balance on that account, you get this cute graphic on the front screen of people dancing and there's confetti. I know a bunch of people get really bad servicers with federal loans. I have nothing bad to say about Great Lakes. I would absolutely give them 5 out of 5 stars. My next lender is Wells Fargo, and I had actually taken out all of my 4 private loans with them when I was 17 through 20 years old. When I started my debt-free journey, I was looking into consolidating them so I could lower my minimum payment. Now, Wells Fargo is a bank, so this consolidation loan was both lent to me by Wells Fargo and serviced by Wells Fargo. And the product was not very high quality. It essentially just showed up as another account underneath my checking account, and then it gave me my account summary. There was no fun platform to look at, no fun graphs. Not that your student loan servicer is supposed to be all about the aesthetics, but it really helps when you can see something in a graph form, or if you have a separate section where they tell you how much interest has been accrued for the month. Things just weren't as detailed. I really didn't like the look of it. The most information you got from that account was from the actual statements that came in, which to be honest aren't that exciting to read. And of course Wells Fargo has their own mobile app, so they did have an app. I would give Wells Fargo a 2-star rating. It's not because I had a negative experience with them, it's just that as a student loan servicer they didn't really offer that much. My next lender is Citizens Bank, which is serviced by Firstmark Services. I personally hadn't heard of Firstmark Services until I refinanced my loans with them, and I honestly hadn't seen that many reviews about Firstmark, so it was all very new to me. Citizens Bank as a lender is fine. I have no complaints there. Firstmark Services kind of had a similar looking portal to Wells Fargo. It was very plain, very dull. It just gave you your loan balance, and it did give you all of the necessary information like your interest and any transactions that had taken place on that account. The interface is kind of annoying to use. There are a lot of menus that you have to go through to find the one thing that you're looking for, and I personally was not a fan of it. It was just okay, and as far as I know, Firstmark Services does not have an app, so it was really hard to look at your balance on your phone. But again, the interface wasn't very nice looking, and it just looked like they put basic numbers on a screen. They weren't very informative as a servicer. Other platforms like Great Lakes actually had articles tools and resources to help you figure out how to pay off your loans faster and educate you about your financial future. So I'm giving Firstmark services 3 stars. My next lender is Earnest. I believe Earnest actually used to be both the lender and the servicer, which is why they're probably such an amazing student loan lender and servicer. They have a very user-friendly platform, as I mentioned in my previous video. They are just great all around. As a whole, I think Earnest is definitely stricter in picking which borrowers they allow to refinance with them, because they typically go for individuals who are in high earning fields. They choose borrowers who will make their payments every month. You can see your loan balance, when your next payment is. If you're enrolled in auto pay, you can apply to do bi-weekly payments, which could actually save you a lot of money. You would technically be making an extra 2 payments a year, kind of like when you get 2 extra paychecks every year when there's a month that has an extra pay period if you get paid bi-weekly like me. It's a similar concept to that. I personally try throwing as much money as I can to my student loans. I might do a bi-weekly payment in the future, but we'll see. Hint, hint. As a lender, they're extremely easy to use, and as you saw in my previous video, it was so easy to check for my rates. Even if you're an Earnest client, you can still refinance a loan with them, but I think you have to be an Earnest client for at least 6 months before you switch to another Earnest loan. The other great thing about Earnest as a servicer is that if you do have a co-signer, you can let them sign off after a certain period of on-time payments. And I think that there's no penalty if you miss a payment. While I haven't seen that Earnest has a mobile app, if you log in through the browser on your phone, their website is actually very user-friendly while you're on your phone. So there's really not much of a loss in capability in a mobile browser than in an app, because it's still all very easy to read and you can have all of your information there. They also have incredibly high flexibility. You can change the due date for your loans, which is really helpful. So overall, I give Earnest 5 out of 5 stars because it's amazing. My next lender is Education Loan Finance. While I didn't really want to leave Earnest because Earnest had been my best loan servicer to date, I knew that I would save a few $1,000s if I switched to Elfie. Now, Elfie is serviced by American Education Services, or AES. And AES is actually not a bad servicer. They have all of their information on the front page. Their platform is very user-friendly, so I didn't really feel like I was downgrading from Earnest, but I don't think that they offered as much flexibility as Earnest did in terms of bi-weekly payments. However, they do provide some very nice graphs, which you know I like, and they're very informative about your payment history, and it's very easy to request a loan payoff amount. You can just get it online. The other great thing about AES is they do have a formal app, and it's actually pretty useful. It's very well designed. You can see your principal balance on a graph, and I could also change the due date for my payment. Overall, I would give AES 4 stars out of 5. They had a nice platform, they have an app, did what they were supposed to do, and they did it in an aesthetic way. Now, the reason why I mentioned that it's very easy to get a payoff amount from AES is because I actually did that a few days ago. Remember that time I said I was gonna wait to refinance my loans? But if you haven't figured this out by now, I am very impatient. I ended up refinancing my loans because I'm moving in 2 weeks and I was already an Earnest client in the past, so I actually already had an account with them, and they completely approved me to refinance with them again without having to submit another pay stub or proof of address. So I lucked out. Maybe if you had never been an Earnest client and they didn't already take that information, it would be different. For me, it worked out. I put that application in a little over a week ago. I was approved the next day. They asked me to input the loan payoff amount and the address that it was payable to, and then they sent the funds on November 20th. They were received on November 23rd by AES. Congrats to AES for processing that payment so quickly. Today, there's a 0 balance on that account, but now I have like an $88,000 balance on my new Earnest account. So I think the refinance went very, very smoothly. It's honestly the fastest refinance I've ever done. My first payment is not going to be due until January 17th. As you know, I'm going to try to pay off my loans as fast as possible, and I absolutely do not want that interest accruing over 2 months. On another note, since I'm an Earnest client again, I am now able to refer friends to earn $200 if they refinance with Earnest. Obviously, this video is not sponsored. That's just something that you get for being an Earnest client no matter what. If you do refinance your student loans with Earnest using my reference code, you get $200 and I get $200. Please check out the code in the description box below. You can watch my last video to see how I even checked for my rates and just follow what I did. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and for those of you who have subscribed, thank you so much for helping me reach 150 subscribers, and for those of you in the US, happy Thanksgiving.